Welcome back to another installment of very special episodes. This is part 24 of the series, where we look back at some of television's most impactful episodes that stepped away from comedy or lighthearted storytelling to tackle real-world issues. From drug use and sexual assault to gang violence and interracial dating, these moments prove that TV wasn't afraid to take risks and deliver lessons that stuck with audiences. Today we'll dive into shows from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and even beyond, showing just how widespread and influential these stories became. As always, I'll be breaking down each episode, explaining the story, the message, and why it mattered in the bigger picture of TV history. And before we get started, don't forget, if you're watching this in the first week, hit that new hype button to help the channel grow. Now let's run it back.
Maybe the world is blind, or just a little unkind.
Punky Brewster. Just Say No. This episode came at the height of the anti-drug movement of the 1980s, when Nancy Reagan's Just Say No campaign was everywhere. Punky and her friends are invited to join what they think is a cool after-school group, only to discover that part of membership involves trying drugs. Punky, normally confident and upbeat, suddenly feels caught between wanting to belong and knowing the danger. Seeing her hesitate shows how even a strong character can feel real peer pressure, and that makes the message relatable for young audiences. In the end, Punky makes the right choice, refusing the drugs and staying true to her values. While the episode tied closely to a national campaign and may feel a little heavy-handed today, at the time it delivered an important lesson to its target audience. Saying no isn't weakness, it's strength. For many young viewers, Punky's choice provided a blueprint for how to deal with similar pressure in real life. Alf, we're so sorry, Uncle Albert. This episode stands out as one of the darkest and most emotional stories in Alf. It begins with Willie telling Alf that he must stay in a backyard tent while Uncle Albert visits. Alf resents the change, complains about missing TV, and humorously bungles Willie's attempts to pitch the tent by eating the supplies. When Uncle Albert arrives, however, he surprises everyone by being generous and kind, showering the Tanners with gifts and paying for dinner with uncharacteristic warmth. Albert later reveals he had a heart attack, which made him rethink his life and try to make amends with family. For once, the Tanners believe they're seeing a new side of him. Tragedy strikes when Albert stumbles upon Alf in the backyard tent and, shocked at seeing an alien, collapses and dies. Alf initially treats death through his Dalmatian perspective, joking that it should be celebrated and hiding his guilt behind humor. But his remorse soon surfaces as he fears his face literally killed Albert, and he laments that Albert didn't have enough time to make up for his past. In a moving conversation with Lynn, Alf learns that Albert had already begun making amends by visiting and showing kindness. By the end, Alf finds comfort in this, and he and Willie share a reflective moment under the stars, acknowledging both Albert's flaws and his growth. The episode is remembered not only for its mix of humor and tragedy, but also for pushing a family sitcom into unexpectedly heavy territory. iCarly, iWanna Stay with Spencer. During one of Carly's webcasts, Spencer proudly shows off his newest sculpture, the Fan of Hammers. But things go wrong quickly when the contraption malfunctions, sending hammers flying, nearly injuring Carly on camera. This incident, combined with Spencer's history of eccentric behavior, prompts their grandfather, Granddad Shay, to visit. He insists that Spencer is too irresponsible to be Carly's guardian and wants her to move with him to Yakima. The conflict deepens when Carly learns their father agrees with her grandfather, leaving her torn between her loyalty to Spencer and the adults questioning his maturity. The episode explores Spencer's journey toward proving himself as a responsible caretaker. Carly tries everything from dressing like a punk to showing solidarity, but Spencer accidentally fuels his grandfather's doubts when a kitchen fire breaks out. In the end, it's not grand gestures, but small acts of care that make the difference, like Spencer keeping Carly's childhood asthma inhaler just in case. That moment convinces Granddad Shay that Spencer truly looks out for Carly's well-being in ways that matter. Carly stays with her brother, reaffirming the theme that love, attention, and devotion are what make a family whole, even if it doesn't look traditional. Roundhouse, gang violence. Though Roundhouse was known for sketch comedy and musical numbers, this episode broke format to tackle something deadly serious: gang violence. Adam faces pressure at school to align with one of several gangs after fights begin to break out. For a teenager trying to stay safe and find his identity, the lure of joining a gang becomes very real, and Adam's struggle mirrors what many young viewers may have seen in their own communities. The show takes a clear stance by highlighting how gangs manipulate fear and vulnerability, preying on those who feel isolated. By presenting Adam's story, Roundhouse reminded its audience that joining a gang isn't empowerment. It's a trap that can cost you freedom, safety, and even your life. For a variety show marketed to kids and teens, this pivot into realism was bold and unforgettable. Moesha, reunion. Frank organizes a reunion of Moesha's childhood playgroup for a Saturn sales pitch, but what begins as a lighthearted setup evolves into a powerful exploration of interracial dating. Mo reconnects with Matt, a childhood friend who is white, and sparks fly between them. Excited about this new connection, she agrees to a date. Frank, upon hearing about it, advises her against dating Matt. While protective, his words also reveal how even well-meaning family members can reflect social prejudices, only for the two to face racist remarks and prejudice while out together. Mo is shaken but also reflective about what the relationship means to her. The episode leaves Mo questioning whether love can withstand racism and what sacrifices come with pursuing a relationship that others don't accept. For a teen sitcom, it was a courageous move to address the realities of race and love. Smallville, Ryan. Smallville's blend of superhero mythology and human drama reached an emotional high point in this episode. Clark grows close to Ryan, a boy with telepathic powers who can hear people's thoughts. Ryan becomes like a younger brother to Clark, sharing secrets and giving Clark someone to protect. But tragedy looms as Ryan's medical condition worsens, and no matter how powerful Clark is, there is nothing he can do to stop the outcome. The episode is heartbreaking because it forces Clark to realize that even Superman can't save everyone. Watching Ryan decline and knowing his death is inevitable puts Clark in a position of helplessness that he rarely experiences. The story emphasizes mortality, compassion, and the bittersweet truth that sometimes the greatest power we can show is being present for those we love, even when we can't change their fate. Rock, You Shouldn't Have to Lie. This powerful episode of Rock juggled two difficult subjects at once, weaving them into the everyday life of its characters. In the main plot, Rock learns about Damon, a teenager in the neighborhood who is sliding toward gang life after he killed Sheila's friend Terrence earlier in the series. Rather than respond with anger or punishment, Rock makes a surprising move. He approaches Andre, the local drug dealer, to intervene. Andre has lived the consequences Damon is heading toward, and Rock believes his voice will reach Damon in a way that lectures from adults won't. In a brutally honest conversation, Andre paints a grim picture of prison life and the wasted opportunities that come with gang involvement. The episode doesn't glamorize Andre, he's still a dealer, but it shows the value of real, unfiltered honesty in steering young men away from crime. Running alongside this is Eleanor's emotional storyline. She reconnects with a nursing school friend and is stunned to learn that she has contracted HIV, which was also passed down to her daughter. This subplot adds depth to the episode by highlighting the stigma and fear surrounding AIDS during the early 90s, a time when misinformation was rampant. Eleanor's compassion and sadness reflect the challenges many families face when confronted with the epidemic. Together, these stories capture the essence of Rock as a socially conscious sitcom that wasn't afraid to confront the hardest issues of its time. By linking gang violence and HIV and AIDS in one episode, the show reminded viewers that real life can't be neatly separated into single issues, and that compassion, honesty, and community support are critical tools for survival.
Looked at my kingdom, I was finally there to sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel-Air.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Not with my cousin, you don't. Ashley's growing independence takes center stage in this episode. While testing out a new intercom system, Will and Carlton overhear Ashley talking about possibly having sex with her boyfriend before he leaves town. Their protective instincts kick in immediately, causing Ashley to storm out in anger. In a private moment, Ashley and her boyfriend both admit they aren't ready, showing maturity far beyond what her family assumed. Will's later apology drives home the heart of the story. He admits he still struggled to see Ashley as the young woman she has become, rather than the little girl he met years ago. Ashley's forgiveness reinforces that overprotectiveness often comes from love, but respect and trust are equally important. It was a rare sitcom moment that encouraged open conversations about teenage sexuality and autonomy. Mr. Belvedere, Homecoming. This episode of Mr. Belvedere was groundbreaking because it directly addressed the issue of dating, something almost unheard of on network family sitcoms in the 1980s. Heather is thrilled when she's asked to homecoming by Keith, a star football player at her school. What begins as an exciting night soon turns harrowing when Keith attempts to rape her after the dance. Heather manages to fight him off before the assault can continue, but the experience leaves her deeply shaken and unable to go to the homecoming game. The writers show Heather not just as a victim, but as a young woman processing trauma in real time, struggling with fear, shame, and confusion over what to do next. Encouraged by Mr. Belvedere's calm wisdom, Heather eventually opens up to her parents. Her father George confronts Keith directly, showing anger, but also an unwavering commitment to protect his daughter. The episode's power came from refusing to minimize the incident or turn it into a lesson of the week subplot. Instead, it lingered on Heather's vulnerability and her family's support, driving home that speaking out is vital. Airing such a storyline in prime time forced audiences to reckon with the taboo subject and validated the experiences of viewers who had faced similar trauma. In many ways, it marked one of the boldest, very special episodes of its era. The Bernie Mac Show, Here to Stay. Bernie opens the episode frustrated, pointing out that the kids are no longer just temporary house guests, but are acting like they fully live there. He complains about them constantly stealing his things, breaking his stuff, and messing with his personal belongings. To re-establish control, Bernie literally marks his territory, labeling food and drinks with instructions on when the kids can and can't touch them. Eventually, he decides to compromise by giving each child an allowance, hoping to teach them responsibility and independence. But after they forget chores like taking out the trash and cleaning the kitchen, Bernie erupts in anger. His frustration deepens when he finds a telescope hidden under Jordan's bed. When Bernie asks where it came from, Jordan lies, saying Bernie bought it for him. The truth comes out. Jordan had stolen money meant for his inhaler, bought the cheaper generic version, and used the rest to purchase the telescope. Although Bernie punishes him, Jordan runs away in guilt and sadness. The family begins searching and eventually finds him on the roof with the telescope. Jordan explains that he wanted to see the Sears Tower back in Chicago because he misses his old life, and most of all, his mom. This revelation softens Bernie's anger, reminding him, and the audience, that the kids' misbehavior often comes from longing and pain rather than simple rebellion. The episode balances humor with vulnerability, showing Bernie's growth as both a guardian and a father figure. And that wraps up part 24 of very special episodes. Once again, we've seen how shows across different decades weren't afraid to dive into difficult territory, offering lessons on drugs, sexual assault, family, racism, and more. These episodes may not always be easy to watch, but their impact remains strong, and in many cases, they paved the way for deeper conversations in living rooms across the country. A huge shout out and heartfelt thank you to our amazing Throwback Tier members, Peace by Chaos, Thicula, iCritic, Jeremy Bowen, Mr. Blanks, and Sonic and Leighton Fan. Your support means the world, and you're helping keep the nostalgia alive in a big way. I also want to thank all the other awesome members who support the channel. Whether you're new or you've been rocking with us from the beginning, I appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss future installments. And if you're watching in the first week, make sure to hit that hype button to help the channel grow. As always, keep the nostalgia alive.